Welcome to a brand new episode of Is OBS Studio the best software to do this? Probably not, but you have OBS Studio, so let's utilize it. Today we're going to be creating this. I have no idea what it looks like because I haven't made it yet. Does it look good? Let me know in the comments. So this is my OBS setup, and if you're wondering what this little thing is, it's just my vertical setup for words on stream. If you haven't seen that video, I highly recommend it. It's on my channel. Go check it out, and you can copy paste the code. You don't have to learn anything. Literally copy paste in OBS, and you'll have it looking just like that. Maybe with one filter. Anyways, let's get right to it. I was doing some tests, and the test looked like this so far. So we're gonna delete everything, and we're gonna start from scratch. All right, first thing I want you to do is create a color source. So add a color source. We're gonna call this black, and we're gonna choose the color black. It can be, actually, I was gonna say it can be 1080p, but it doesn't have to be 1080p. It actually has to be 2020 by 2020. We can immediately center this by pressing Control and D, okay? And we can press Control E to open up the Edit Transform, and positional alignment, we're gonna set that to center. This is gonna help us. Oh, we're gonna have to press Control D again. There you go. Now we're gonna copy this, right click copy, and we're gonna duplicate it. So paste duplicate. I can select that layer, press F2 to rename, call this one white, select the color and pick white. There you go. Now, what I'm gonna do with the white here is I'm going to hold Alt in order to crop it. So I'm gonna hold Alt, click and drag that side. Why is it acting like that? We're already running into problems. Anyways, we want to have half of the screen white, like this. That works. Doesn't matter too much. And then we're gonna group them up. Now, what we're gonna create is basically a pie chart, but we want a pie chart that we can really control. We're gonna group them up by selecting both of them, holding Shift, group selected items, and we're gonna type pie, or call it whatever you want, really. Now, to this group, I'm gonna add a filter, and we're gonna use the shader filter plugin. So if I go to filters here, user defined shader, you need to go on Google, type shader filter plugin, shader filter, one word for OBS. And I'm gonna click load shader text from file, click browse, and we're gonna find polar. Where is it? Polar coordinates, or just polar, and click open. Oh, look at that. We already have a pie. Now we're just gonna look at here. I'm gonna scroll down. I'm gonna play around with the rotate. Okay. Play around with the point Y. Point Y is if you want a donut. That's not necessary here. Maybe I want to play with the repeat. There you go. And now if I rotate, you can see that I can make it thinner or thicker. We're gonna keep it about like that. This is basically going to be a mask. It's hard to like get it moving and also explain every single step, but this is going to be an alpha mask or a luma mask, if you will. Basically, everything that's white is going to reveal. Everything that's dark is going to hide. Now we're going to use the move plugin. I'm going to right click on the scene, add a filter, and you can see I was already testing this. I'm going to delete those, and I'm going to go to filters and put move source. So this is going to be reset, basically. I'm gonna make sure I have pie selected, and I'm gonna click get transform just to make sure I have everything locked in. Then I'm gonna duplicate this, call this one 360, because we want it to do a full rotation. We're basically gonna learn how to do like a full rotation here. And I'm gonna go to rotation on this one under transform, and I'm gonna type 360. Okay. So now if I go and I turn on this filter, it should do it should do a 360. Now, weirdly enough, it's actually not doing it from the angle that I expected. So I'm going to click on the group. I'm going to press Control E, and there we have our problem. The group positional alignment is top left. So we're going to center that. Okay. Then we're going to grab it and center it again, basically, or just press Control D, and we might have to restart. So now since you changed things around, you want to go back and get get transform again. So reset, I'm going to click get transform to have the right values here, but we're going to make sure that rotation is on 0 for this one. Then I'm going to go to 360, get transform, and you can see rotation is 360. So now if I do this, okay, it resets, and if I do this, it does a 360. All right. Go back to reset, and we're going to set the custom duration to 10 milliseconds. So it basically is going to be so fast you won't be able to see it. And then for 360, we're going to set this to 3 seconds. So 3000 milliseconds. go back to reset and tell it that basically after it's done resetting to basically play the 360 animation again. So if you scroll all the way down, next move should be 360. Now we're going to go to 360 and we're going to tell it after you're done doing your 360, your next move should be reset. So we basically created a loop. It's going to play infinitely until we stop it. But we do have a problem here is that by default, we have ease in and ease out. So we're going to see that right now. Actually, this is a great test to figure out what easing actually does, right? Easing function is cubic right now, and you can see that it's accelerating and decelerating. Quadratic, like they all accelerate and decelerate, but they do it in different ways, basically. We have quintic. This one really picks up speed. There's circular, picks up a lot of speed. Exponential, which is one of my favorites, except it's so fast. And then elastic are the fun ones. So it basically kind of anticipate the motion, and you can set it for ease in or ease out. For example, if you don't want it to shake before going, you can just put it to ease out, I believe. So it's only elastic when it stops, like that. And then finally there's bounce. Keep in mind we're only on ease out right now. So right before hitting that last position, it bounced. There you go. But in our case, we want a perfect rotation. So we're going to go ahead and, I mean, you can play around with this. You can keep it if you want to, but no easing on the 361. And we have this. There you go. Congrats. You know how to make a, I don't know, a radar. You know how to make a radar animation in OBS Studio. Good job. All right, let me turn this off for now. And let's go ahead and create another color source. And this time we can create our webcam border or whatever we want to create. Cam board 1. Cool. And for this one, there's multiple ways of, creating a rounded rectangle and playing around with it and doing a bunch of stuff, but it's cool when I hover over this, you can see the outline. But I really like playing around with the advanced mask filter. That's an extra plugin that you need. So I'm going to go to filters and we're going to go advanced mask. Again, those are easily Googleable, and it gives us a little bit of like geometry settings that we can create stuff with. For example, corner radius here, I can do this, which is pretty fun. And really helps us be like creative within OBS Studio. I haven't played around with it as much as I would like to, but the little bit that I did is amazing. Like I'm really fond of this filter. There's even custom shapes like, well, circle if you want, ellipse, polygon, star, heart. Those are pretty cool. Let's stick with rectangle now. So our color source is 1080p. It's supposed to fill up the screen. So I'm going to play with that a little bit. Is it zoom? It's not zoom. Now we have the width here. And we have the height. Play around with all that. I want something kind of vertical, like a webcam border that's kind of vertical. I think that would be cool. Now, I don't know if there's invert mask. I think that's one of the things that's like kind of missing from this filter. Or maybe I just don't know how to use it properly yet. But that's completely fine. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this. Right click, copy, right click, duplicate. And we're going to change the color of this one so we can see what we're doing. Let's go with that purple. So we duplicated it. So it has the same filter. We're going to go back. And for this one, we might play around with the height a little bit. And also basically we're creating basically the hole that we're going to cut inside of it is what we're creating right now. You can always click on the little arrows to have like fine tuning. And that's nice. Inner radius should be a little smaller. That's some graphic design rules right there. And you can see it looks much better. Actually, it might be a little too thick, but it would be like, it's still perfect for the demonstration, but we're going to make it a little thinner. Try to have the same distance from the sides to the top. So it's kind of uniform. You don't have to, but it's going to look better if you do that. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to turn this off, or actually I should rename it. I'm going to rename that new layer cam cutout, and I'm going to turn it off. Go back to my actual cam border, go to filters, and we're going to add a second advanced mask. I haven't tried this part yet, and I'm kind of nervous. I hope I'm able to cut it out and do like invert the mask. So here on mask type, we don't want it to create a shape. We want to use that other source as a mask. So mask type source. Okay. Here it's going to say, hey, which source? We're going to pick cam cutout. And this is what I love about this filter, is that you can pick sources that are not even in the same scene. And that's kind of amazing. Show some love to Finite Singularity. He's the one who created that. So we're looking for cam cutout. It's right there. And of course, it's going to cut it to that. Now the question is, how do I invert it? Congratulations, you created, well, the outline of a webcam, if you will. Now we have our little pie. All we have to do is tell it, hey, could you pretty please just use that pie as, well, an alpha mask or a luma mask if you want. So only show me the parts of the pie. But before that, we might want to have like a persistent webcam border in the meantime. So we're gonna duplicate this first. Copy, paste, duplicate. Okay, I don't know why. Like, is it lagging? What's going on? And I'm gonna change the colors of this one. Let's say that this is gonna be my regular color. Let's go with blue. Okay, or I guess this is gonna be like the path color. And I'm gonna go to filters again. And you wanna know which filter I'm gonna use? Same one, advanced mask. Advanced mask. Once again, you should probably name them. It's a, you know, pie, for example, would be a good one. So mask effect, it has to be alpha mask. Mask type is going to be source. And in source type, fun fact, you can select groups also as a source. You can select groups that are not even in the same scene. Oh, you know what else? You can select scenes as a mask, like full games, frames. Those are scenes, which is awesome. What are we looking for? Pie. And there's two pies here. I don't know which one is which, but I'm going to click on that one. And it's not moving because the movement is part of the scene. I messed up somewhere. I don't know why there's two, but let me select the second pie. Okay. So there's two ways we can fix this. All right. It's good that I run into problems because you guys get to learn the diagnosis part too. So this is moving, but this is moving through values. The scene itself isn't moving. Like the pie isn't actually moving. It's just the value, the rotation value that's moving. And this is in the same scene, so it doesn't count it as an animation. It's just like, oh, you're gonna use the pie as the mask, the static pie. So there's two things that we can do. One, we can create a new scene and then use the pie scene. Create this is gonna be like the pie scene. Now the pie scene is moving. It's just gonna pick what's showing. Or we would need this to be a full animation, as if it was a video, for example, right? But we don't need to make a video. I mean, you could just start recording and then post this, but good luck trying to make it loop perfectly. Anyways, what we're gonna do is use another plugin that I love because it helps me out in a pinch like this, and that is the source clone. Actually, I don't know if the source clone is going to replicate the movement. Let's try it out. The source clone. Source clone pie, is it going to replicate whatever is happening? You can see clone type source, clone, and we want a pie. No, it doesn't. So second solution does not work. Again, we're learning diagnostics. That is perfect. All right, cool. Let's create a new scene. Okay, and we're gonna just bring our camera stuff here. Right click, copy, scene 4, right click, paste, reference, beam, boom, bop. Okay, cool. And we can delete it from this scene. Hopefully everything is gonna be fine. Remove, Probably not actually, maybe. Yeah, it's all good. All right, cool. Cool. So cam cutout is just like the alpha mask. We don't need that. Cam border 2, is that the one with the current filter? Yes, that filter being the Pi mask. Let's go back to Pi Max. Pi Max? Great company. And now we just want scene 3 to be the source of the mask, okay? So let's scroll, screen 3, and screen 3 is moving for all it knows, all right? And we can't see anything right now because we're not using it as a Luma mask. We haven't told it, hey, white reveal, black hides. Right now it's just like, oh, the whole scene is a solid, so show everything. And this is the part where I realized that I've never gotten this far. I've never done a Luma matte with this filter, but we're gonna learn together. It has to be there. There's no way Finite Singularity didn't think of that. So mask type, BSM alpha wipe. I don't know what that means, but it has the word alpha in it. Okay, it lets us select a source. Remember that scene 3 is our source? No? Okay. Let's go back to mask type source. I'm gonna find it. Filter on alpha channel, grayscale. And just like that. Just like that. So under channel parameters, you wanna put filter on grayscale. That's it. That's how you do a Luma mask in OBS Studio. Keep in mind that we created all of this in OBS Studio. It doesn't have to be. You can go on YouTube probably and download a video that does that and still have the same effect. As long as it's black and white, you can create static mask like in Photoshop if you want to, or whatever editing software, in Microsoft Paint if you want. You can have an image be black and white and use the luminosity as alpha, as long as you just set it to grayscale. It's just the terminology that's a little different than what I'm used to, since you can hear me say Luma matte, but there's nothing that says Luma matte here. It's just like in Adobe After Effects, for example, it's called a Luma matte because, well, the illumination is what determines the alpha channel. And there you go. Now, if we want to be cool and we want to be cute, we can add some extra filters to this whole scene. I'm going to right click on the scene. I'm going to click on filters and we're going to try some stuff. Shader filter plugin. So we're going to add a user-defined shader, load shader text from file. And I would like for it to like glow, maybe. That would be cool. That would be pretty cool if it could glow. Or bloom, maybe. Bloom shader. Let's see that. What does that look like? Okay. We have radius steps, amp factor, radial steps. And it's basically a glow effect. You can still go back. That's one of the advantages of using OBS Studio to do this is, well, you can just go back and change the color of everything, right? You can also just have this as your webcam border, for example. I think that could be pretty cool. So let's say that I wanted a gray instead with a hint of blue. I think that looks nice. Let's go to filters. It also means that you have access to all the data. So if you're using something like StreamerBot, you can turn on and turn off filters based on, chat, based on alerts. One of my favorite filters, as always, is the Chroma UV distortion shader because it's so cool and you can really distort it or just make it slightly distorted, add a little bit of chromatic aberration in there, give it more color, just overall giving you something pretty cool to work with. Or we can have like the VHS or VCR, VHS, this one. If you want like a glitchy type of webcam shape, you can also click apply to image. If you want to contain it, basically. Now, of course, you're wondering, oh, how do I add this to my camera? How do I add this to my camera? Now, I'm going to show you if you had your gameplay scene, for example, right? So what you would do is add it as a scene. Now, right now it's scene 4. You should probably name it like webcam or something. I only have it as scene 4. You can see it here. And we're going to add our camera. We're going to add this as, well, I have my camera in a separate scene, which makes it easier to add to other scenes, just like this. You're seeing, hi, how you doing? I can drag this down underneath it. Okay. And now it's just a matter of making it fit. So I can do this. I can do that. Technically, I could just crop it, hold Alt, drag the sides. It's not going to be perfect now because it's like kind of wiggly, but it's still pretty good. Not going to lie. But in my case, I would use the advanced mask to keep them together. And then you can just group them just like that. Now you can resize it. You can place it wherever you want. Again, you can see, for example, here, I don't like the fact that that border kind of blends in with my background. I want it to stand out more. So I can just go back at any point. At any point, I can just go back and be like, hey, how about you're another color? How about you're purple? Okay, maybe not that purple, because I forgot I have the I forgot I have the bloom filter. You're purple but darker. You're purple but darker. I could have just turned off the bloom filter. And then boom, there you go. Now it stands out a little bit more. And again, I can place it wherever I want. I can also change the effect whenever I want. So right click on scene 4. I can be like, no, you know what? That's just the effect. Technically, that's what we created, right? Without all the effects. There it is. There it is. It is that simple. And again, I'm doing like very, very, very simple version of this just to show you how to do it. But if you want the whole border to switch colors, if you want more like effects, the shader filter plugin has a bunch of effects that you can add. Go wild with it. Go absolutely wild with it. And if you really don't want it to use, I don't know, I don't think that uses a lot of resources, but if it does, what you can do is just record this. Just record this. Just press record and try to have a perfect loop. So start in the middle here, it goes down, back up, boom, you stop the recording, it'll have a loop. Now you're not gonna have transparency, although there is a way to get transparency, but I don't wanna get it through this anymore. Watch my older videos if you wanna find out how. And then you would be able to add this, even with a black background, you would just set the blending mode to add. It wouldn't be perfect transparency, but yeah, one media source playing is going to be way easier on your computer than you know, multiple sources with multiple filters moving in a loop. Maybe, I'm not sure. My computer handles it perfectly. Oh yeah, and once again, you can modify everything. I don't think I need to show you more, but if I go here and I go to repeat, for example, I can do this, and you can guess what type of effect it's going to have on our border. Maybe that's too much. Maybe that is too much. What if we put a little bit of the donut? Interesting. Interesting. All right, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you think and follow me on Twitch.